Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile, tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home.
Leaves from the Vine is an ancestral Fire Nation song. The tightly packed words create two believable, poetic, and almost proverbial stanzas that could be passed down from generation to generation. But in order to fully comprehend this song's beauty, we must first understand the context in which the song is sung. What originally is introduced as an upbeat and carefree song becomes recontextualized when the audience learns that Iroh is using the song to lament his son who he lost at war. Iroh can be found singing Leaves from the Vine in what happens to be my favorite episode in this series, Avatar: The Last Airbender. In the episode, we encounter 6 vignettes through which we learn more about the characters of the show and the world they inhabit. All 6 stories share overlapping themes of loss and isolation. Katara and Toph share a tale, followed by Iroh, Aang, Sokka, Zuko, and Momo. In Katara's and Toph's tale, Toph receives further development and characterization. The Beifong's parenting style has come at the cost of Toph's autonomy. Toph grows to resent and ultimately rebel from her parents in the high society lifestyle that is forced upon her. Seemingly content with her rough exterior, we later learn that Toph's strength and pride, which are symbolized by her earthbending skills, are actually a facade. Rules and protections isolated Toph, and estranged her from her parents, and Toph's coping mechanisms only serve to mask her loss of identity. Aang's story is less about Aang and more about mankind's relationship with creation. Many of the animals of Ba Sing Se are constrained by the tight confines of the wall, and are suffering at the hands of human decisions. Aang, compelled to move, sets out to create a larger expansion for the wildlife. The show often presents Aang as humanity's best hope, and his actions in the show serve as a mirror for our actions as a society. Aang's choices in this episode serve to ask what humanity's role is in mitigating losses that creation has suffered because of us. Sokka's tale centers around the city life of Ba Sing Se. Here, the restrictive nature of the city is made analogous to the limiting poetic structure of a haiku. The theme comes into play when Sokka adds one too many syllables to one of his haikus. Rules and regulations are purposed to create order, but this tale draws attention to the loss of freedom and the alienation that can be created for those who fall on the wrong side of the law. The tale of Iroh coincides with the tale of Zuko and Momo. Much of Zuko's vignette and character arc are marked by personal loss. Zuko's banishment left him with an ever-present scar that literally and metaphorically dictates the way he sees the world and the way the world sees him. Contrastingly, Momo's story focuses on that which is not forfeit to loss. More on that later. Iroh's story anchors the themes of all the other stories, in that while many of the main characters are experiencing loss for the first time, Iroh has experienced a lifetime of losses and mistakes. In his tale, we see a self-assured man able to see beyond himself and help develop others' identities. We see a caretaker tending to the needs of the weak and vulnerable. We see a war general able to face, grieve, and accept the sins of his past and his nation. While Zuko's growth is stunted by his losses, we are able to see a fully realized Iroh, one who is informed by his losses. And just as in Momo's loss of a friend does not impede on his ability to make friends, Iroh is able to do the painful work of reconciling with the past. Which brings us back to the song. These expertly crafted verses connect Iroh's personal story with the wider narrative of the Fire Nation. Originally, the Fire Nation lived in harmony with the other 3 elements. In the first verse, leaves, vine, and shells get mentioned to Earth. Though air is not directly mentioned, it can be assumed that air escorts the leaves from the vine to the body of water. And the words drifting and foam offer a visual acknowledgement to water. But where is fire? The 2 verses serve to divide fire from the other nations just as much as the war has done throughout the series. Boys are called from their homes much like leaves have been plucked from the vine. A leaf, fragile and tiny, would make a poor shell, and a boy would make poor work of a man's job. The word soldier clashes with the words boy and little, inasmuch as shells are not meant to be fragile and tiny. Tension and division in the line "Little Soldier Boy" comes from the isolation and loss of harmony that the Fire Nation has with the rest of the nations. Zuko's character arc shares an eerie similarity. What I love most here is the economic and efficient use of words. In the second verse, 4 words change, but these 4 words are able to encapsulate the tragedy of Iroh, the Fire Nation, and Zuko in one verse. It is not until the little soldier boy returns from war that he becomes brave. This much can be said of War General Iroh, and this much Iroh hopes for Zuko. The difference between the words come and comes could not be overstated. Little Soldier Boy Come Marching Home pays tribute to the agonizing years of longing that a war can put loved ones through. The mere addition of the letter S signifies the soldier boy's return home. It is because Iroh's son never made it home that Iroh struggles to allow Zuko to detach from the vine. It is not until Zuko separates from Iroh that he is able to become a brave soldier boy and eventually come marching home. Iroh does not blame the other elements for teaching him these lessons, just as a vine does not scold the wind for removing its leaves. Iroh only hopes that Zuko can learn from the first verse of his ancestors rather than skipping to the second verse like he did. This is masterful writing. But songs are more than words on the page. The instrumental and vocal delivery of the second verse helps to accent the song in unexpected ways. As Iroh's voice actor delivers the phrase "Little Soldier Boy," he chokes on the word soldier, almost in anticipation of the unfulfilled and now lifelong request for his son to come marching home.
Little soldier boy.
Additionally, the voice actor decides to elongate the words brave and home to ghostly effect, almost as if he was never able to assign the word brave to his son, nor was his son able to come back home.
Brave soldier boy comes marching home.
As you listen to the rigid marching of the instrumentation, take note of how Iroh's voice deviates from these lines, and through this, the layered story that comes to life.
Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile, tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home.